Sunday, I spoke about the situation in Gaza with the world-renowned political dissident, linguist, author, MIT professor Noam Chomsky. He was speaking in Princeton at the 32nd anniversary of the Coalition of Peace Action. Noam Chomsky recently returned from his first visit to Gaza, which he entered from the Egyptian side of the Rafah crossing as a member of an academic delegation attending a conference at Gaza's Islamic University. This is Noam Chomsky talking about his experience there.
It's kind of amazing and inspiring to see people managing somehow to survive and as essentially caged animals, subject to constant, random, sadistic punishment, only to humiliate them, no pretext. Israel and the United States keep them alive, basically. They don't want them to starve to death. But life is set up so that you can't have a dignified, decent life. In fact, one of the words you hear most often is dignity. They would like to have dignified lives. And the standard Israeli position is they shouldn't raise their heads. And it's a pressure cooker. It could blow up. People can't live like that forever.
You described it in a piece you wrote as an open-air prison.
It's an open-air prison. As soon as we've all been in jail for civil disobedience and so on. And the overwhelming feeling everyone gets is somebody else is in total control of you. There's an arbitrary authority who can control anything you do. Stand up, sit down, find something to eat, go to the bathroom, whatever it may be. They'll determine it. You can't do anything. And that's basically what it's like living there. I mean, there's people find ways to adapt, but it's just a constant, it's constant subjugation to an external force which has no purpose except to humiliate you. Now, of course, they have pretexts. Everybody has pretexts, but then don't make any sense.
This was the first time you were there, though you've written about this for decades.
I've written about it forever, and I've tried to get in a couple of times from the Israeli side, but it was always closed. So this is the first time I made it. We came through Egypt.
And how hard was it to get through from Egypt?
There's a lot of bureaucratic hassles, and the border's still apparently controlled by the Mukhabarat, the old security services, who were close to, they were under Mubarak, they were close to the Mossad, close to Israeli, at the CIA, and a lot of it, it's hard to know how much is just bureaucrats trying to make life difficult for you, and how much is planned harassment. I mean, for people like us, what does it matter? So we wasted 2 days, but for the Gazans, it's no joke. I mean, if you want to go through something like passport control, you sit for 3 hours while they doing pointless things. That's just more humiliation.
While you were there, another Freedom Flotilla ship tried to get in from Scandinavia. What was the response on land?
The Estelle, we had there's a lot of excitement. People like to, obviously are very happy to know that somebody knows they're there and that people are actually willing to risk something, because it's not a joke, to try to break through. And we had a press conference at the port, and to my amazement, it was actually covered in the most reactionary newspaper in Israel, Sheldon Adelson's newspaper, Israel Hayom. Look it up. They had a fair report of it, quoted the press conference, even had a clip of it. But for the people there, it's just a sign you haven't forgotten us. Maybe we'll get out somehow.
And we're speaking for the first time after President Obama was just reelected. Your thoughts?
Well, there are two good things about it. One is the worst didn't happen, and it might have. The second is it's over, so we can put it behind us and get back to work. Exactly what you said today. I mean, the whole electoral extravaganza, in my view, ought to take maybe 5 minutes of the time of an activist, because it's a farce. I mean, there's some differences. It's not zero impact, So you decide, okay, I'm going to deal with it this way, 5 minutes, finished. Now I go back to what matters. Changing the circumstances so that you don't have to endure things like this every 4 years.
And with something like Gaza, which you've covered, as you said, forever, what gives you hope?
Well, it's the usual thing that you see everywhere, that you've seen everywhere a lot more than I have. People's resilience. They just don't give up under the worst conditions, horrendous conditions. People still, fight for their rights and don't just succumb. And it's a lesson for people from the West. I mean, we talk about repression, but undetectable by comparison with what most people in the world face. And if they can struggle on under really harsh and brutal conditions, tells us we ought to be doing a lot more.